Greetings to the lovers out there. Couples, I believe that you are now sitting together, waiting for this wonderful moment where you are learning together as husband and wife on how to build a beautiful marriage going forward. And my name is Mpo. I'm with my wife, Ruzani. And today we want to speak to you on a topic that says, it takes me and you. We need to understand that marriage is about the two that got married. It is about the husband and the wife. And in this life, we've noticed that many marriages are not succeeding or moving forward just because you realize that people have brought other people into the marriage, and it is no longer taking me and you as husband and wife, but it is taking us as a family. It is taking us as friends. It is taking us as parents and children. But today, our focus is on the two that got married, because God's design of marriage is about the two. It is about me and my wife. It is about my wife and me. And that is important, because if it is not focused on the husband and the wife, that marriage will have many voices speaking to it, and it has a high potential of failing. So remember, as it takes you and your spouse, you need to understand that it will take you to be both builders of your marriage, because a combination of a builder and a destroyer will not work to build your marriage. Rosanne.
I can just imagine one person putting a brick to build a mansion, and the other one keeps on taking off the bricks from that building project. Really, there won't be any progress. It will be like, chasing the wind. If there's another fruit of the Spirit that you will need the most in your marriage, it's the fruit of the Spirit called patience. It is from Galatians 5:22 and 23. In your marriage, you will need to be very, very patient with your spouse and also with yourself, because becoming is a process. As the Word of God says, the two shall become one. So you continue to become in marriage. Remember that you are both imperfect. You both come from different backgrounds. You both have different experiences of life. And you know what? That makes who you are, your experiences of life, where you've been and all that. So that's why there's a need, in order for you as a couple to build, you will need to be very patient with each other. You need to realize that marriage relationship is an environment of learning. It's an environment of relearning. It's an environment of unlearning some of the things that we have seen others do, and they didn't get good results from them. So it's unlearning also from some of the observation from the other marriages that surround us. There are things that we might have learned. When you're outside marriage and you taking lessons from marriage, sometimes you think this thing can work. But then when you are in the marriage, then you realize that, no, actually, what I thought is helping other people is what is destroying their marriages today. So realize that there's a lot of there's a lot of processes that are running, in one person. If you look at a system, it's like, there's Word running there, there's PowerPoint running there. There are a lot of changes that are required in order for two people to become one. And, there's transformation happening, there's developing happening, and there's growth as well that is happening at the same time. So you can imagine being married to a spouse who has never been in marriage before. This is their first marriage, and you're expecting them to run it like a pro already, like they have 10 years experience. The 10 years experience works, but often when you're looking for a job. But then in a marriage relationship, really, it's a place of learning. And you need to allow your spouse to go all out, to learn new things, to explore, to find what works. Sometimes you introduce something in the marriage relationship thinking that it will work, and then only to realize that we are unique. We are not like that other couple. We actually need a different solution. And as you keep on changing, as you keep on adjusting yourself, it requires patience from each other. So you can't expect your husband or your wife to know everything about husbanding or being a wife, because they are also learning in the process. So remember that learning is a series of actions. There are a lot of steps that need to be taken in order to achieve a certain goal. So be patient with each other. Be patient with each other. Sometimes your spouse is not doing things the right way, not because he wants to spite you, but maybe it's because he doesn't know what else can do. Maybe partner with them to get other solutions, to get other strategies. Work together. Hence, we are saying today, it takes me and you. So you are both in this together. So don't sit back and say, yeah, I want to watch him failing. I want to watch him getting these things wrong. No. That's not the attitude. The attitude that will help you to build your marriage is when you hold hands and say, babes, what can we do? What do you think can be done so that we can succeed and get these things right and enjoy our marriage at the end of the day?
Definitely. Definitely. I think as you're talking about patience, that as couples, we need to be patient with each other. You're reminding me of the 10 years journey that we have been in, that patience is one of the critical things that one needs in marriage. Because we have often thought that as the pastor declares you husband and wife, therefore you automatically are upskilled with all the requirements of being a husband and being a wife. And you then in the process lose that patience of allowing yourself to learn how to be a husband, to learn how to be a wife. So it's important that we don't become too hard on ourselves, but we allow ourselves to learn, relearn, and of course, unlearn certain things as you've indicated. The second thing, after being patient, we need to be loyal. That means we need to be, as couples, and we need to be faithful to our commitments. What is it that I've committed to? I've committed against all odds that I am choosing you as my wife. That means I am agreeing to be faithful to you. I'm committing to you so that my marriage will be able to succeed. I must be so loyal to you that everything that I do, whether I advance my career, whether I'm doing well at work, whether I'm recognized in the community, it must be towards my marriage. It must be uplifting to my marriage. It must benefit my marriage. And the other thing, I must be true to my word. It is important that as partners, we need to be true to our word, true to our promises, and true to our vows. What is it that we have vowed to do? What is it that we have committed ourselves to do? When I speak, can my wife trust me? When my wife speaks, can I trust her? Or there has been a lot of mistrust caused by what people promise and not do. So those things are important, that I must be true to my word. The other thing, I must be reliable. Can my wife rely on me? Can my wife trust me? Can I be trusted as a man? When I'm saying I'm going out to work, can I be trusted that I'm really going to work? Or when I need to be tracked down, somebody must follow me because
with a GPS.
With a GPS, because I'm not trustworthy and I'm not reliable. So when I say I'm going to the shop to buy 1, 2, 3, am I reliable enough to bring those things back with me? Those are some of the things. I must also be selfless. If you harbor selfishness in you, you will never be able to build a marriage. Remember, it will take me and you. So that means both of us must be selfless in our marriage to make sure that we achieve our goal of being able to have a succeeding and a winning marriage. The other thing, we must consider and acknowledge the presence of your spouse. You can't keep on doing FYI, for your information only, on things that you need to sit down and discuss and agree in order to build this marriage. Yes, you are the man. I understand. The word gives you that authority as the husband to lead, but it doesn't give you the authority, neither the power for you to be selfish. So be a selfless husband, a selfless woman. You need to also be in a position where you have your spouse back. It doesn't matter what is happening, through thick and thin. Let your wife know that you are dependable. She can depend on you. You are there to cover her. You are there to protect her. Because if you don't do that, it becomes a problem. Because your wife is in a marriage, but she's still alone. So it is important that as you are in your loyalty to this commitment, in your loyalty to this marriage, you take focus of your spouse. Protect your spouse. Protect your husband. Protect your wife from the family. Protect your wife, your husband from your friends, from anything that wants to come in between the two of you. Protect her from your in-laws, your parents. Protect her also from yourself, because sometimes you can be too hard on your spouse. So protect your spouse on that regard, and that will help us in our loyalty as we build this marriage. So, Rosani,
as you are sharing, I'm thinking of the times that we are living in at the moment. The pandemic that we are faced with. I can imagine how harsh things are outside in the world. And, I realize that it is very important that as marriage, in a marriage relationship, as families, as couples, we create a good environment in our homes and create a place where we can run to when the world is harsh to us and the challenges are there, out there. We need to know that, when I go home, when I go to my husband, I will find that comfort. I will find that place where I feel safe. I will find that place where I feel supported, where I feel appreciated, because the world is very harsh. So you can imagine if you're neglecting your marriage, you're not working on it. Where do you run to when the going gets tough out there? So you can imagine it's tough outside. You even creating even a tough situation, even in your household, even in your communication as a couple. You need to create an environment that makes it easy for you to talk as a couple. Don't be the kind of a spouse that hits a dead brick on your spouse. Whenever they bring issues, you don't want to talk, you get angry, you are just untouchable in your marriage relationship. I can just imagine how frustrating it can be to be in a marriage where you don't have a voice. You are even scared to raise certain issues. It's like when issues involve your spouse, you have to tiptoe around them in order to bring out issues, what is in your heart. Where will you be able to pour your heart if it's not in this very intimate relationship?
Yeah, I think it is things like that is causing a lot of abuse in families and in marriages today, because you have to think twice before you open your mouth and speak in that relationship. So it is important that you don't tiptoe. You need to have an environment in your marriage, in your family, that you are free to be able to speak your mouth. You are free to speak what you have in your mind. You are free to be able to open up to your spouse in order for you guys to be able to build.
You know what is another big challenge that I've realized with time is that many couples are not open and transparent with each other. They choose what to share with each other and what to hide. And I believe that when we say that it takes two, your marriage takes the two of you, it's very important, because the word of God says the two becomes one. So how do you manage to hide things from yourself?
Yeah.
Because he's me and I'm him.
Yeah.
We are one. So how do we manage to get to a place where we are able to hide things from each other? Marriage is a place where you need to be open to not only share your success stories and your strengths, but then even your weaknesses. This is where you need to come back and say, babes, but here I'm struggling with this thing. You don't need to be superwoman. You don't need to be superman in your marriage. You need to be yourself as much
Be
as you
you.
can.
Be
Be
you.
you. And just relax and say, babes, you know what? This is what I'm struggling with. You know, I'm actually thinking in my mind of someone who has a problem, who is a womanizer. Whenever they see a woman, they want to chase after them and pursue them. It's like you can go back to your wife and say, babes, I love you. I want our marriage to work, but I have this problem. I don't think your wife will judge you, but then if she's a wise wife, she will partner with you, walk the journey with you, and help you overcome that challenge with alcohol, that challenge with women, whatever challenge you have.
Yeah.
But the problem is that as couples, we want to show up like we are perfect. We want to cover up with our clothes, with our smiles, whereas on the inside, it's a totally different story. But you know, unity has power in your marriage.
So true.
You need to be open. There are certain prayers that only your spouse can pray for you. They are only, you know, your spouse is one person who's supposed to go deeper with you than anyone else. So there's no need to be ashamed, even with your weaknesses. Open up to your spouse, and then you have overcome that challenge. I think, babes, by just opening up and saying, I'm struggling here, for me, already you are a step ahead.
Yeah.
For me, already you have started the journey of overcoming, especially in that area. So stop defending every time certain things are not raised about you. You might not be proud of what you are doing, but then don't stop the communication, because the moment you defend, the moment you fight your spouse, you deny them an opportunity to open up to you. You cause tension.
Yeah.
And they don't even know how to relate with you anymore, because you have built now a wall around them.
Yeah, I think the other thing in creating a good environment to communicate, Rosanne, is for us as couples to understand, wherever you are, you need to understand that when communication is handled recklessly, irresponsibly,
Yeah.
and immaturely in marriage, it will breed disappointment and hurt to our own spouses. The people that we have gone out to say we love them. The people, we will be hating those that are very dear and close to us, those whom we have declared that we will be with them until death do us apart. And I know that it is not your intention as a couple just to hurt and disappoint each other. It is not your intention. But you need to consider that you create such an environment that when you speak, you are speaking from a point of love. You are speaking from a point of peace, where you want to build and create an environment where your spouse will also be in a position to provide you feedback without any fear. Because sometimes spouses are not able to provide this feedback because of how communication in the marriage is handled. And that results in us thinking that we are doing things right, whereas we are not. And you get shocked when people then separate or divorce, or you hear that this marriage is struggling because you thought they were doing well. But it comes from the issue of communication. When you have blocked the door of communication such that your spouse is even scared of giving you that feedback, whether it is positive or is negative. Remember, they are not giving you that feedback to make you feel bad, to make you feel embarrassed. It's things that is the feedback that they are giving you so that you can change, adapt, and adjust in certain things, so that the environment in the marriage itself is appealing, it's appeasing, and it's appreciated, and it's easy for one to always think of going home at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's true.
What is the last thing you want to
I'm thinking that one thing that has helped us in our own marriage is the importance of feedback. I've realized that when you give me feedback, you choose words wisely. And that makes me to always look forward to getting that feedback about myself. Remember, feedback is two-sided. There are positive things that you're doing, and there are also areas of development where you can improve.
Yeah.
So when you are given feedback, don't only look forward to the positive only. Also be on the lookout of the development areas, because that's where you grow as a person. Remember that the world out there can cheer you and clap hands for you all the time and say, wow, that was great. But it is your partner who will be able to give you feedback, I mean, a true reflection of what happened, including the negative that was there. But then many people will only focus on, people of the world, friends will always focus on encouraging you. But then when you get that important feedback that comes with your development areas, allow your spouse an opportunity to be honest with you, to say, babes, this is where you can improve. I personally have grown so much from the feedback I've received, because I didn't put defense when I was told that this is where you are still going wrong. But I took it with a very positive attitude and started working on them. And believe you me, the areas that I've improved, that you've raised with me, I've realized that it doesn't only help me in my marriage, but it helps me at my workplace. It helps me in different relationships. Even when I relate with family and friends, it is the same things that I worked on, that you raised, that you were seeing in our marriage, that really has been a solution even in other relationships. So be open to feedback. Don't be a person who always wants to hear the good. When your spouse raises also the not so good about you, they are not saying you are a bad person, but they are saying, look, you have so much potential, you can still grow, you can still do better in this area.
Yeah.
So it's good. I look forward to that, actually.
Yeah.
It really helps me to become a better person and to become even a better version of myself.
So true, so true. I think feedback is critical. I think if we are in marriage and the only feedback we want to hear from our spouses is the good, the perfect, the positive only, then we are not building. We're
Yeah.
basically destroying our own marriages with our own hands. The other thing I want just to give to you, for you to focus on, to caution you on, is that you need, as a couple, to stay alert. And to stay alert, I mean, you need to be a watchman of your own marriage. You need to realize that the devil is roaming around looking for a marriage it can devour. That is why everybody speaks of failing marriages. Everybody speaks of marriages that are unhappy. It looks like there is no marriage that is happy, because the enemy wants to focus us on that which is not working. So the devil is roaming around, and you need to stay alert. Number 3, you need to refuse. Say, not with my marriage.
Yeah.
Stand on the ground and say, my marriage will work out. My marriage will succeed. I will make sure that I protect my marriage with all that I have. I will guard against anything that wants to come in. Number 4, you need to make sure that the enemy doesn't use you to gain access to your marriage, because the enemy will never come into your marriage unless you open a door. It can be either both of you, or it can only be one of you. But the fact of the matter is, for your marriage to succeed, to move forward, you need to stay alert.
Yeah.
And it will take both of you.
True.
Don't allow yourself to be in that position where you are not alert, because the enemy will destroy your marriage.
Yeah. It's like you can think of those 2 security guards at the gates. This is you and your spouse, and the estate or whatever treasure that you're protecting is your marriage. So remember, when the security guards are at the gate, they manage what comes into the marriage. So this also rules out that thing that you're always complaining about, that people are coming in and out of your marriage, your mother-in-law, your sisters-in-law, your friends, people want to destroy your marriage. No, it is because one of the 2 of you allowed them into the marriage relationship. So you have to stay alert at all times, like 24 hours, and make sure that there's no intruder that is able to come into your marriage while you are not watching. So that remains your responsibility, and no one will do it on your behalf. It takes 2 of you to say, babes, let's stand by the gates of our marriage. let's make sure that there's nothing that is able to come into our marriage and destroy this good thing that is going on. Sometimes you give up on your marriage because you don't take care of it. You know, when something is not taken care of, it doesn't become a treasure anymore. And maybe that's why, because you've neglected the marriage already, you don't care what comes in. No, 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 no. You can put measures in place together as a couple. Stand by the gates of your marriage and make sure that you don't allow any wrong thing to come into your marriage. And the other thing, avoid having a time-starved marriage. Because if you don't invest time in your marriage together, then you end up becoming like strangers, staying together.
So true.
Can you imagine people who are working together without knowing what is happening in his life, what is happening in my life? How are we going to get there? Where are we going? Because we are on the same journey, but it's like each and every single one of us is going their own direction. We're never gonna reach a common goal if we do that. So it's very important that also you avoid sitting on those couches, busy on your phones for hours, talking to the whole world while your spouse is sitting next to them. The fact that you are present, your body is in the same room with your spouse doesn't mean that you are spending time with them. Mind where you're investing your time.
Wow.
Because if you're sitting on your phone, you're not talking to him, you're just in one place.
Yeah.
But then there's no investment that is happening in this relationship here. You are investing in those people that you don't even know. Remember, social media will make you think and feel like you know people when you don't know them. How do you neglect the person that you chose for yourself? Remember, no one chose for you.
Yeah.
The person that you chose for yourself and said, I want to spend the rest of my life with this man. And yet you starve them of your time. You give it to strangers that you don't even know.
Yeah.
I think you need to think about it. You need to think again and ask yourself, before you invest your time, ask yourself, am I adding value here?
Am I adding value here? Wow. Let's just conclude this message of today. And I want us to conclude in this way, Ruzani, that you will need to change in your marriage. Number one, when you keep fighting about the same things, that means you are failing the same test over and over again. So that must be a sign for you to know that it's time to change and do things differently. Number two, when the old strategies are no longer working, seek new knowledge, find new knowledge, read books about marriage, go out and attend seminars about marriages, look for videos that encourage you on marriage so that you gain new strategies that will help you in your marriage. Number three, you must have the desire. You must have the desire. You must be like hungry in yourself to make sure that you improve your marriage.
Yeah.
Because even your marriage can be improved. And quickly, let me say, sometimes forgiveness will precede the change that we are talking about.
Yeah.
Sometimes forgiveness will precede that change. The only time God will not forgive you is when you don't forgive others. Because the Bible says, forgive others.
Yeah.
Lord, forgive us as we forgive others. Yes, sometimes one can choose not to forgive, but forgiveness is not an option. It is a must. You need to be able to forgive.
Yeah.
Matthew 6 verse 15 says, but if you do not forgive others their trespasses, their reckless and willful sins, leaving them, letting them go and giving up resentment, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. So it is important that you forgive others. Here are the questions we want to leave you with. Where do you want to see your marriage in future? How do you plan to get there? What needs to change now in your marriage for your marriage to be able to move forward? And if you answer those questions honestly and openly with your partner, you will be able to be building a healthy, winning, and successful marriage. So it will not take your parents or anybody else from outside. It will take you and me, husband and wife, in order for that to happen. Thank you to Morangi Productions for partnering with us in order to be able to expose this vision. If you are interested and you want this vision that you have to be taken forward to the world, be able to contact them on the details that are on the screen. Make sure that you contact them as soon as possible, because they will partner with you and your vision will go far. As we continue to build healthy, winning, and successful marriages. And we've written a book called Unbreakable Marriage. This is a book that every marriage needs, and you need to get in contact with us in order to get this copy. I assure you, this is the book that you need. If you are to build an unbreakable marriage that will stand the test of time, you will need to unlearn certain things, learn new things, and relearn certain things in order to move your marriage forward. You can never have an unbreakable marriage if you don't invest in your marriage. And this is one book that you will need, because it helps you to discover who you are in your marriage, discover your purpose in your marriage, and understand what marriage is and what God expects of you as you build an unbreakable marriage. So make sure that you contact us on the details that you see on the screen in order to get this copy. Thank you.